today we're going to do a little wrap of 2025 for Flora Funga Podcast, if you will. And I'm very excited because I looked at all of the platforms that I was on. We got Spotify, we got Apple, Buzzsprout, YouTube. Unfortunately, we'll dive into that, how the YouTube, is going to be a little skewed. But overall, it was a really good year for Flora Funga Podcast. So we're going to do kind of the top 10 episodes of 2025 for Flora Funga Podcast. Are you ready to find out top 10 little juicy details, little snippets? And if you want to watch more, I will link all of those episodes that we mentioned, obviously, so you can find them at your will. So we're going to be starting with Spotify. I have most of my listeners up on Spotify, which is really, really exciting. I have around 6,000. Yeah, Spotify obviously has the Wrapped for creators. Just like you have the Wrapped for your music, they have that for podcast creators. So this was actually really fun to look at. Do I say actually way more often? I've been now editing my own episodes and I'm like, oh my God. So we have 2,598 followers on Spotify. We have around 25,000 plays on Spotify. I think we have 600 and something on Apple. So if you didn't know, I'm also post on all of these different apps. So I'm on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, the new channel, which we'll dig into. And then on my website, I post all of my episodes up on florafungapodcast.com, and then the number is usually what it is. So if you want to go onto that website, all my episodes with the video, I'm going through and re-uploading, re-editing the YouTube links. So I've been usually embedding all my videos on there as well. Sometimes there's a description even, and then there's additional content or resources. And I have a weekly newsletter. So if you just want to be up to date on the weekly episode, I send that out the morning that I launch it every Wednesday around 10 a.m., noon, and you'll get that. So join the fam. Join the Flora Funga fam. Why are you not? So let's watch this cool Spotify Wrapped, shall we? This shows I was top 10 show for 318 listeners. That's kind of a lot. I mean, out of the 2,500 followers on Spotify, 300 around of them, that I'm their top 10 show. And then we even have top 5, 186 of y'all. I'm your top 5. And then also, this just made me blush and made me tear up a little bit because Flora Funga Podcast as a #1 show is 26 listeners. I'm 26 listeners top podcasts on Spotify, which is awesome. That just made me feel way more accomplished than I kind of thought, just because this year I worked really hard. Well, 2025, I was working really hard, especially throughout the summer for Telluride Mushroom Festival. And then it became the holiday times. My YouTube channel got banned. I kind of lost hope in a way, which is really sad. And so I'm coming back strong this year. We are coming back. So Flora Funga Podcast is back. Still trying to set up my background here. My tapestry keeps falling down. So I guess that's just not it. So soon in the works, we'll be making our own little shed, my own podcast studio, so that the spare bedroom can actually be a spare bedroom and not just a shared bedroom, podcast studio, gaming room, mom's room when she comes and visits. Also, I have more stats I wanted to go through. So with each of my episodes that I launch every Wednesday, 5% of y'all hit play and listen to the newest episode within 24 hours of me launching that episode. So thank you, y'all. I wish you would tell me, because then I could shout you guys out. So if you would share a photo, actually my friend Ariella sent me a screenshot that I was her top 10 podcasts of the year. So if you guys still have that would be really fun, and I would love to share and tag you in that on my Instagram and Facebook and all that stuff. I've been getting yelled at by my friend Tyler that I gotta be more active on Facebook. So that will be my New Year's resolution for the podcast this year, is to be more active on Facebook, maybe X as well. And 25% of y'all binged my episodes at least 2 a day. So thank you to the 25% of the listeners that binge 2+ episodes per day. Love y'all. Let's finally get into the top 10 episodes. Number 10, let's do opposite. Obviously, I gotta tease y'all a little bit. Number 10 is the Death by Death Cap, the true crime episode, where I thought this was a really good one. I was very excited, where this woman in Australia actually killed a few people by cooking them beef Wellington with mushrooms, the death cap for cuties, what I like to call it, the death cap mushroom. And I covered this article, and it's now a Netflix documentary. And I just want to say, I recorded this before that even came out, so I was on top of it. So if you want to go watch that one, it's a really short and very interesting one. I'll put a little thing here. So yeah, that one is called Death by Death Cap 177. So yeah, let's listen to that one a little bit. So imagine you're sitting down with your in-laws. You're having an amazing lunch, beef Wellington specifically, just looking at the plains in Australia, and then boom, one day later, 3 people are dead. Well, welcome back to Flora Funga Podcast, where we cover plants, fungi, and everything in between. We like to get down and nerdy here on the podcast. I came across this article, and I had to cover it. This, I believe, is the first case of somebody using a poisonous mushroom to kill somebody on purpose. So back in 2023, there was this woman, Erin Patterson. She lives in Australia, and she decided to invite her in-laws over. In total, there was 4 people that she invited over for lunch. She decided to make this amazing beef Wellington. It's a piece of meat wrapped in a pastry and then put in the oven. But lo and behold, death cat for cutie came into play. That is one of the top poisonous mushrooms that I actually just covered a few weeks ago. The top 7 poisonous mushrooms to not consume. And of course, she added this mushroom in here. So we're going to do a little true crime episode breakdown of what happened and why did this happen and what is she facing now. All right, number 9. Number 9 is my biodiversity documentary, where I went to the Olympic Peninsula Fungi Festival. This was actually in 2024, but I published it in 2025. So this one was a really good documentary. I thought it was way better than the other ones that I've done. Every time I do a doc, it's getting a little bit better. So this one was just really awesome, highlighting the biodiversity and all the research being done with the Biodiversity Collective, with Graham and Amy and David. It's a really good in-person documentary that I filmed. So please go watch that one. It's if you're, make some popcorn, maybe roll up a joint if you smoke or not, just kind of hang out and enjoy learning more about the mushroom biodiversity in Washington. When we talk about biodiversity, it's easy to think of a faraway jungle or rare animals. But in reality, it's happening all around us, quietly beneath our feet. Fungi are some of the most important and overlooked parts of the story. They connect trees, they clean soil, they break down the past to make room for new life. At the Olympic Peninsula Fungi Festival, people from all walks of life came together, scientists, artists, foragers, and families, to explore how fungi help build healthier ecosystems and stronger communities. This documentary is a look inside that experience and a reminder that biodiversity isn't just something to protect, it's something we can participate in. Over the next hour, you'll hear stories from scientists, educators, foragers, artists, veterans, and visionaries, all connected by one simple idea. Biodiversity matters, and fungi are the key. So that is 166, but I don't think it has a number. It's just called the Biodiversity Documentary. And then we have number 7, which is shout out to Mr. Trippy. This is 183. Why are we not roasting chestnuts anymore? So this is where I sat down with Elspeth. She is a nut expert, and we kind of go over just different nuts, tree species. This one was just fun. I had a really fun intro, so maybe I'll just put the intro here, and then hopefully that'll grab you and want you to watch or listen to the rest. Chestnuts roasting on an open fire with fungi nipping at your nose. Too early for Christmas? Never too early for nuts. In this episode, we sit down with Elspeth, a nut expert, the queen of keystone species. We're diving into how nuts literally hold ecosystems together. So pull up a log, grab a sack, acorns obviously, and let's get cracking. This episode got inspired by when I was in North Carolina and I found this chestnut. I thought it was a chestnut. Later in the episode, she educates me on how this is a horse chestnut, aka a conker, and I'm like, what the hell is a conker? So we dive into keystone species, biodiversity of 600 different species of oak trees, how they are hybridizing and bringing back the chestnuts, and also how forest fires are misunderstood. So let's dive into this week's episode where we connect nuts, low-hanging fruit, the masting of acorns. Get your mind out of the gutter. All right, let's dive into this week's episode.
Well, I was thinking about this actually the other day, and it's not so much a joke, but I was telling my husband has a huge family, and we were like hanging out a couple winters ago because I've been working on this book for a while, and my 13-year-old cousin was like, I know what you should call the book, because at that point it didn't have a title, and I was kind of excited. I was like, okay, great. What?
Oh boy.
We were sitting in this like hot tub. It was like a family ski trip. And he goes, I think you should call it D's Nuts.
Yes. Yep.
And so for a while at our house, the book's working title was D's Nuts. So that did happen.
That's awesome. And so I brought a visual here. I was just in North Carolina, and I was like, oh my God, chestnut. That's awesome. All right, next up, we got 170, how to forage for mushrooms without dying. This one is obviously a top one just because my guest, Frank, was on, and he was just a character. He talked about how he made all this money foraging for mushrooms, and then he dives into his book that he wrote. I actually offer this at the farmers markets, and it's just how to find 2, 3, 5 different mushrooms that you for sure know the ID to, so you could 100% guarantee that you're picking the right one. So how to forage for mushrooms without dying. Let's watch a little snippet on this one. How to forage for mushrooms without dying.
I really want to learn how to hunt mushrooms, but I don't want to kill my family. If you grew up afraid of mushrooms, all that means, the British had not been invaded. Yeah, oh my God. Do we have like the most ridiculous hobby? That in terms of just
right, our job does not suck.
Our job does not suck. We have to go outdoors in the woods. And
oh no!
And we gather gourmet food is laying around that for the price of spending. What is it? How much does it take to learn a given mushroom? Like 10 minutes of reading?
Yeah, especially if you like learn it out, in the wild and you've like found it. You're like, okay, I get it. Like 10 minutes of like foraging and finding, and maybe an hour of like seeing it back to back.
Right, exactly. Yeah. And so you learned how to find free gourmet food.
Yeah, foraging.
Right. Yeah. And then you have, and then it becomes a little bit like vegetable gardening, where once you're good at vegetable gardening, you can buy a bunch.
Yep.
Or even sell it. And so you get good enough at foraging, chefs will buy your mushrooms.
Absolutely.
We have the most ridiculous hobbies. There may be something more ridiculous, but I mean ridiculous in a positive.
Yeah, and it's such a trending hobby now, I guess you could call it, or even like academic type of topic too. So, it's just booming. Really.
It's booming. It was exploding 20 years ago when I started.
Mm-hmm.
And it's still exploding, and it's not them. We have all these English-speaking people who are afraid of mushrooms.
Yes.
And so what percentage have drunk the Kool-Aid? So
yes.
maybe 4 or 5% of Americans will eat a wild mushroom without being weirded out by it. So they're still like,
Yep. So that's kind of our main
any,
thing is
yeah.
educating people, obviously, with your book and everything. So yeah, thank you. And then we have next up 172 with my psychedelic lawyer, Victoria. This is if you're selling any type of mushroom products, you're gonna need one of these, which is a psychedelic lawyer. And yes, we are still in the works of getting back my YouTube channel. Currently, they're being served. They're being very quiet right now, but we are going to be loud and heard. So we are trying to get that back. Unfortunately, right now I have to use my backup account. Follow at Flora Funga TV, FLORA FUNGA TV. So that's the new YouTube channel. Please subscribe. Trying to remonetize again. 2026, here I come. We've never really covered like law around psychedelics.
I am, in fact, an attorney for psychedelic medicine and for cannabis. I am a former narcotics prosecutor. I worked on that side of the industry for a number of years and left public service really depressed. And my priest asked me a question that changed the course of my life. A former client of mine, an MD, came to me and said, I think you're a great candidate for psychedelic assisted therapies. Specifically, she was talking at that time about ketamine assisted therapy. Mm-hmm. I laughed at her. I said, absolutely not. I'm a former narcotics prosecutor. I'm this very passionate Zen Buddhist who's focused on living a mindful life. Mm-hmm. I did not think that there was a place for me in psychedelia. She didn't give up on me. She went to my priest and she said, you got to talk to her about this. And my priest asked me a question that changed the course of my life.
Wow.
Which was, is psychedelic assisted therapy, or are psychedelics generally for connection or for escapism?
Mm-hmm. Good question.
At that moment, it kind of all clicked. That all these wonderful people were not working in this field, were not coming to me in my life because they wanted me to like get high and run away from my problems. Mm-hmm. They missed me. They wanted their friend back. They wanted their community back. And they saw this as a tool to kind of rejoin society in my new body and the pain that I was in with some extra tools that I needed now.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Next up is 175, Fashion Meets Fungi, where we sit down with Shane with heartwood mushrooms, and he grows spent mushroom blocks, mycelium, on textiles. And so we're trying to figure out a way to get rid of all of the textile waste in the fashion industry. So let's watch a little snippet of this one.
The amount of food that gets wasted as a result of these just best before dates in the US alone is equal to 3 Hungaries. Which is
3 Hungaries.
3 Hungaries, 3 times the country of Hungary.
Oh, okay.
That's how much food that they produce, right? So there's a lot of non-food things that's kind of contributing to this mindset of scarcity. We're making so much food.
This one I did not know was going to be so popular, so I'm really glad we had him on. So if y'all are interested in being on the podcast, this is your time to kind of reach out to me. You can, I guess, just comment down below or hit me up via email, floraandfungapodcast@gmail.com. I'd love to hear from you. And also, if you're not subscribed, you're already halfway through. Like, just do it. Just do it, you know? You never know what could happen. Okay, this one was a top episode on all the platforms. 178, 5 ways fungi are closer to humans than plants. This was a really good, short, little juicy news type of episode. I've been trying to do more of my solo education ones. People really tend to like it. Maybe because they're interesting, maybe because it's just me, or maybe it's just like a really short episode and you don't have the attention span anymore. I don't know which one. Maybe a combination of all of them. So this one's a really short, interesting one, and I feel like people are still learning this, so I'm here to educate. 5 ways fungi are closer to humans than plants. episode 178. Fun fact that I like to bring up, and a lot of people think that I'm joking, is how fungi are more related to us than they are plants. Let me give you 5 reasons why they're closer to us than to plants. So just like us, they actually breathe in oxygen and give off CO2. So that's exactly what humans do. Where plants, they actually take in CO2 and then exhale oxygen. And that's why we always have houseplants around to kind of purify our air, which I could dig into that because you'd need a hell of a lot of plants to actually filter out a room. Number 2 reason is fungi cannot make their own food. So they are not autotrophs. So plants are autotrophs where they can actually make their own food via photosynthesis, where they are very similar to us, where we have to take in nutrients and kind of turn that into something that we can use for energy. So we are heterotrophs and plants are more autotrophs. Also, fungal cells have outer casing. All right, and then I think we got 3 more. So 3 is obviously the Paul Stamets interview. This one and number 2 could probably go interchangeably, which is very interesting because number 2 is not what you'd think it would be. But 182 with Paul Stamets, this was the highlight of Flora Funga Podcast last year, being invited to Telluride Mushroom Festival, first of all. Second of all, having my own presentation on lichen, first time really presenting on my own ever, and getting a chance to meet and hang out with Paul and then interview him after the parade. That was just like, it was an amazing opportunity, and I'm excited to see what this year holds. We're obviously here with Paul. That was an amazing parade. 45th year, it's kind of a big deal. You were pretty much a founder or maybe co-founder for the festival. So what have you really seen the difference from the first year to this year? What have you kind of experienced?
Well, what I am real sensitive to is that this is a continuation, all going back all the way to the Eve of City Mysteries and before, where they had parades where people were dressed up in costumes and celebrating nature. There's a lot of similarities here.
Yes.
So this is a continuum of knowledge keepers from all over the world that are celebrating the earth. And we were tied through the portal of mushrooms into the mycelium underground, the intelligence of nature. So this is really a continuation of a long, long tradition across the world with many cultures. So it continues.
It's amazing.
This is a revolution from the underground that's unstoppable.
Bringing it up. And do you think you're going to continue this festival, years and years and pass it on? And what do you kind of think?
The festival has never been so large. We have so many young people. This is 4 generations now of myconauts. And so I'm really inspired because it was so small. And there was so much fear and oppression.
Right.
And now there's confidence, courage, and kindness. That's really important to propagate.
Absolutely. And I've kind of seen the lack of community connecting, like academic, community versus maybe the citizen scientist or citizen mycologist. What have you kind of noticed with that?
Well, what's happened in academia and mycologists who are self-taught or who don't have degrees, through portals like iNaturalist, we have unified a bridge of cooperation.
Absolutely.
There's no professional scientist in the biological field who has not had an advantage from iNaturalist contributions. And so I think this really flips the whole narrative. We're all contributing knowledge, and I think the hubris of quote-unquote professional scientists is rapidly disintegrating to the mycelial network. We're all part of the same community.
Yes. How do you think we can kind of improve that to make it more combined in a sense?
I think it's just reaching out and acknowledge the importance of observations. You don't have to have an academic degree to make a massive contribution to the field of science.
Right.
And I think scientists and other just citizen scientists coming together here. There's many professional mycologists here who were frankly afraid to be seen.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
now they feel honored to be around some of us who've had the courage to push forward. So there's so much need for the field of mycology, so many urgent crises that we face, but there's so many applicable solutions. And this is what I'm dedicating my life to: applied mycology to have a positive impact.
Love it.
And I don't want to be stuck I never want to be stuck in a laboratory in academia all my life, the end of my life going, what did I really do?
Yes.
And then I'm really proud to stand on my achievements and the achievements of other people who've looked into applied mycology for practical solutions that have meaningful differences.
Well, thank you for all that you've done. Thank you again very much.
Thanks to everyone.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, everybody. Acts of kindness. I love that.
All right.
The little things. Thank you again.
Take care. All right.
And I would love to have you on the podcast to talk about like mushrooms in space. I don't know if you like talking about that also, but
Well, it's a never-ending story.
Flora Funga Podcast, so bridging the gap between plants, fungi, and humans.
No,
So
send me the link. And
Okay.
I got a lot of followers.
honestly, my only complaint is him and Lindsay, his assistant, said that they were going to repost and accept my collaboration on stuff. I haven't heard back from them. So they practically, Lindsay, I know you're not watching this, but you're ghosting me, girl. I've been hitting you up, and it's really sad because you were all about it. And then he was like, yeah, I got tons of these followers. And yeah, no, they haven't reached back out. So it's been since September since I've heard from her. So maybe I'll just give her a call one of these days. Lindsay, let's go. Let's do this 2026. Lindsay, let's accept the collab, okay? In that time frame, my YouTube channel was taken down, but you still could collab on my Instagram story. Come on. Help a girl out. Okay, number two. This one is a unique one. This one, I started with Meet the Plug segments this year. So 190, this is a pretty recent episode. 190 is Meet the Plug, one of my first Meet the Plug episodes where I just kind of highlight different mycopreneurs in the space, if people have different products or something that they're also building, selling, things like that. So this is with Nourish Cap. Shout out to Nourish Cap, kind of online mushroom marketing situation. So if you're looking into having a better platform for selling your mushroom products, hit Nourish Cap up. I got a lot of views on this one, and I was not expecting that, so I'm very pleased and happy with that.
If you've got a business working with mushrooms that are unregulated, go ahead and use regular checking accounts, and payment processors, PayPal, Stripe, Square, and their merchant services and all that jazz.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're in the regulated space, like in Oregon, Colorado, or soon New Mexico, it's a different story. Like some people have been trying to use these processors, banks, just as if they were any business because they've got a license from the state. They're legal.
Okay.
But they get shut down because the banks and platforms will do compliance and audit checks on a regular basis, and they're not willing to risk it at this time. And probably not anytime soon until there's federal guidance. And so, again, some people have been getting away with it for a while, but it's technically out of compliance with all these platforms. And after a matter of weeks, months, some people have got away with it for a couple of years, and they told me they still got irrevocably banned. So what I'm doing is negotiating with some high-risk back-end financial processors so that we can provide checking account and credit card processing services above board from the ground up. The difference is that a lot of these banks and other companies, they're not going to provide this because the psychedelic mushroom market is small. There just aren't that many regulated companies. There's not enough transaction volume, and there's no federal guidance. So there's a lot of expense for them to set up new technologies and policies and procedures. They're waiting to see what happens with the federal government. But in the meantime, this sector needs to grow. If it's ever going to get there, it has to get from here to there. And so what I want to show in this wait list is that there are enough people who are interested in this, either right now because they're in it or because they'd like to be, that we can make the case and negotiate for good rates, and that we can get this ball rolling, that I can get them to make their investments and make it all work out.
Okay, before we go to number one, I want to shout out to the sponsor of this episode. It is me. Shout out to also Flying Fungi. Shout out to Andrew for making me this tincture. This is the Flora Funga tincture, so calm and collected. If you are having trouble falling asleep, if you're anxious, you want a little Flora Funga in your life, this could really help. So it's just reishi, ashwagandha, and then lemon balm in alcohol, glycerin, water base. So I just take, 1 or 2 milliliters 30 minutes before I go to sleep, and I just feel a little bit more rested, sleep through the night. I'm just more excited to fall asleep at night, if that makes sense. So yeah, if you are interested in the tincture, it is up on my website, florafungapodcast.com/merch, and my shirts are on there, my tinctures are on there that I offer. So please give that a peep if you are interested, or just DM me, comment down below, call, and I can also direct you where you can order or learn more information. Okay, the moment we have been waiting for. All right, number one of Flora Funga Podcast 2025 was 179, which is WTF is a Fungarium. This was a really fun one to do. This was an in-person interview that I did with Matt Smith at the Fungarium in Gainesville, Florida. And Kevin and I went and toured the lab and kind of saw what a Fungarium is, which is kind of like a mushroom library. So let's watch a little snippet of that too, because this one was the top one for YouTube, Spotify, Apple, all of them.
Hey, it's KK with Flora Funga Podcast. We are venturing to Gainesville, so that's where we're at right now, the University of Gainesville, and we are going to be sitting and standing and walking around with Matt Smith. And he is the researcher, the professor here on mycology. And so we're going to go into his lab, sneak a little peek, and then also figure out how all of the specimens are collected, contained, preserved, and put into the Fungarium here. What you say is a Fungarium, we dive into what a Fungarium is and maybe the history as well. Come with me.
I mean, I'm supposed to be the state expert on fungi, and all the time I see things, I'm like, I have not collected that one before. And I've been here since 2011.
Yeah,
so, I know them better than when I got here in 2011, but there's still things that I find where I'm 100% sure that's a thing I've never collected, and probably I don't think I've seen it, but definitely haven't collected it before.
Yeah.
And, sort of as we tally numbers of fungi, they just keep going up. So.
Right. Yeah,
it's kind of impressive when you think about it.
Absolutely.
It can be challenging to find them again.
Yeah.
For sure.
Fun but maybe challenging job.
Well, you won't run out of things to do. So
Accurate.
that's one thing that I really like about studying fungi. You won't run out of questions and species to work on because there's so many.
Awesome. Well, I'm excited to check it out.
All right. So this is our culture lab. We have things sort of divided up. Because when you're working with live fungal cultures, you have to be really careful with them, and you need to not contaminate them.
Yes.
So we have a biological safety cabinet, which circulates the air through a filter. So if you're working with pure cultures of growing edible fungi or exobasidium or whatever it is that you're working on, you work on them inside of there. You can transfer your cultures and you can propagate them. And we have sort of various storage methods. These are all the things that are in the process right now. If you want to come over here,
I would love to.
You can sort of see that, we have kind of a living library. And some of the fungi don't survive particularly well in this kind of scenario, but they'll survive long enough. And the beauty of that is, if you're working on something, you want to extract DNA and sequence a genome and things like that, then, sorry, we're going to go in the other room. Then you can do an experiment with your living culture. You can extract DNA and sequence the genome, right? All kinds of various experiments you could do when you have a living thing that you can't do.
Okay.
Not all the fungi grow in culture, so this is kind of limited to certain groups.
Okay.
So that was very exciting to see. So what I have learned from last year is that the street interviews, the in-person interviews, or just the more unique topics covered got the most views. So going into 2026, I want to curate for my listeners a little bit more. I feel like I've been a little bit selfish with what I wanted to cover, what the topics are, but maybe I just need help writing better scripts or better titles that grab you better, or just kind of reframe what the episode really will be about. Because I'm just like, you guys know, right? But I gotta remember that y'all, I only get a few seconds with you. So I really gotta make sure to give it my all. So yeah, thank you to the 51 countries that listened to Flora Funga Podcast this year. I want to hit them all. I want to collect them all, baby, like Pokemon. So maybe comment down below what country you're listening to, or where do you want to hear of me. Maybe send it to a friend that lives in a different country, and then I can get into more countries. So let's freaking double that next year, you know? We're at 51. Let's do 100. Let's do 100 countries. And also, please help me monetize on my new YouTube channel, Flora Funga TV. I am around 100 subscribers right now. I had to restart all over. So let's try to get there too. 500 subscribers is my goal this year to hit that first monetization tier. Please be my sub. I'm looking for subs, and you could be one of them. And this is one more reminder. This is the last time I will be reminding you. We also have the 2025 nomination that I would love for y'all to fill out. If you just want to vote for yourself, please do so. I've changed that you don't have to answer all of the questions. You can just answer which ones you want and leave the other ones blank for people that only know one person, or you can vote for yourself. Or I heard somebody wanted to vote for me, but they didn't know any other mycologists or people for the categories, but they wanted to vote for me, and I was like, that's so sweet. So I have changed the requirements so you don't have to fill out all of the slots. So please fill that out, message me nomination, and I can send you that link. But all these links will be down below or on my Instagram, my Linktree, all of that stuff. So it's also on my website, florafungapodcast.com, and it will have a full tab for the 2025 nominations. So just fill out that Google form, takes a few minutes, leave some blank, do whatever you want. I would just really like to have at least like 10 responses, please. Please, 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 please. Well, that was a fun recap, and let me know also maybe what you'd like me to cover in 2026. I will be doing some in-person festivals again, some presentations. So yeah, hit me up. Let's see where Flora Funga Podcast can be. I will update my calendar as I have more events on my plate. Well, thank you guys for listening and enjoying my little Flora Funga wraps of 2025. Y'all have been beautiful. Thank you for being there and supporting me through that dark time a few months ago. So yeah, we're back on. Let's go. Okay. Have a great week, my scientists, and go learn something new today. Peaches.